Major League Baseball has passed new regulations involving hazing, and this specifically has to do with rules that ban forcing rookies to dress as women. This is a thing, and some players enjoy it, others don't. Now, the policy outlined by the Associated Press prohibits requiring, coercing, or encouraging players from dressing up as women or wearing costumes that may be offensive to individuals based on their race, sex, nationality, age, sexual orientation, identity, or other characteristic. Okay, so once a year, apparently Major League Baseball teams have a day where they'll have their rookies dress up as women. And we have a few examples for you. Let's take a look at that. And then here's Mike Trout. I think he's dressed as Lady Gaga. And then Carlos Carrera. Is that Wonder Woman? I don't know what that is. Anyway, so look, like I said, a lot of guys like this. Other rookies hate it. And so it kind of was brought up during these discussions. And then finally, Major League Baseball is like, all right, we're going to put a stop to it. So not a big deal. I know some people who play in baseball, like professional baseball. And so I asked around to see like what goes on. And look, I think the most interesting part about all of this, not a big deal. My husband used to play professional baseball. It turns out that like there's a lot of homoerotic stuff happening in like in the locker room.
I'm not sure you should have mentioned your husband right before you made that statement. Okay.
No, yeah, but it's not just baseball. It's in all types of organized male teams.
Yeah, and I don't know that it speaks well of me, but I always thought,
I think it's weird.
Right? Like the guys at the patting of the ass, right? And that's like the simplest one.
That's like nothing.
That's like nothing, right? But Mike, wait, why would I want to touch your ass? Like, if you want to, have at it, Hoss, but it's just like, it never made sense to me, right?
Yeah.
And like guys who, and the dressing up was, look, and the hazing, I can't stand any of it. So I played football in high school and rugby in college. And in football, like the seniors wanted to like do something about urinating on the freshmen or the sophomores.
Why though?
I know, it was like, that's not gonna happen.
That goes too far.
Right, so I'm like, who do I have to fight? Okay, bring your biggest lineman and let's have at it. Because I would much rather do that than do that stupid ass hazing. In rugby, they're like, there's something called an anal boot chug. You don't want to know, okay? And I was like, here's what's not happening, that. Okay, you all can do it. I'm not doing it. Who do I have to fight?
Yeah, so I've heard so many horrendous stories involving hazing that when I saw this headline, I was like, oh, damn, this is probably some serious stuff happening in Major League Baseball that I was unaware of. And then I read about it and I was like, oh, wait. Okay, so they're making the rookies dress up as women, and then, okay, so where's the part where they put a broomstick up the teammates' asses? Because that's like the kind of stuff that you read about regularly. Not in Major League Baseball, but
I think it's weird.
Yeah, and I do think it's weird. But look,
That'll give you
rabies.
I don't want the fact that we've been desensitized by really bad hazing to make us kind of belittle the way some of the rookies feel about this and how they've been offended by it and how it's embarrassing and they don't like it. But at the same time, understand there are a lot of players who thought it was fun and they just thought, yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
And people who cross-dress might be offended by it too. You know, like, ha ha, this is so funny. But anyway, there are worse things, you're right. And it's always like the guys who are more conservative. I'm certainly not going to get, you wouldn't know the names anyway, but there's this one guy who said, oh, it's so funny if you stick your finger in your friend's anus. And I'm like,
but why is that funny?
I think it's weird.
And then if you ask them about gay guys, you'd be like, oh, those gay guys are the worst.
I know, but that's, look, okay, that's the reason why I find this story so interesting, because there are a lot of deeply conservative members in the MLB, right? Mm-hmm. Players. I know from experience, because I've had debates with them on my husband's Facebook page. But it's just interesting that they're super conservative and they're like against gay rights and things like that. And then in the clubhouse or in the locker room, they're like swinging their dicks around and like doing crazy homoerotic things, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I don't know. I don't know if they see the disconnect there.
At a minimum, a good deal of irony there. The Young Turks isn't just us. It's also you guys. You make this show possible. And we want to thank you for it, and we want to grow together. We want to be too strong. tytnetwork.com/join. Let's do it.